the Meeple Society, a podcast about board games hosted by two longtime role players turned avid board gamers. My name is Katie.
I'm Greg.
On this episode, Greg brings us yet more gaming awards, this time from Origins. We talk about the latest crowdfunding campaign to grab our attention. We delve into episodes 40 and 41 of our collection videos, discussing the ins, the outs, the surprises, and the disappointments of each. We answer a question from the mailbag. And finally, we take you through some of the games that we've gotten to the table recently. But first, competitive Scrabble?
Yes, competitive Scrabble.
Oh, okay. Now's a good time to explain that when Greg writes up the podcast, I don't usually see it until about 20 minutes before we start recording. So this is news. Sometimes we discuss stuff. This one he did after I went to bed last night, so no clue what this is about.
So I had to check it out. This is from Smithsonian Magazine, okay? I'm going to read you this story. It says, Scrabble introduces a less competitive version of the classic word game.
Less competitive?
Less competitive, and you'll see. So, during the Great Depression, an out-of-work American architect named Alfred Mosher Butt devised a new game that required players to spell out different words using 9 random letters. His invention, called Lexico, eventually became Scrabble, which would go on to sell over 165 million copies in 28 languages. You had your hand up. Yes, Katie?
Sorry,
Is
no.
there a question?
Well, and we're going into the L's. Do you remember the game we played called Lexigo?
Mm-hmm.
It's a Scrabble type game.
That was with a G, yeah.
Yes, I know. That just caught my attention because it was Lexico. Anyway. Keep going.
Okay, if you have a question, please raise your hand, students. Now, for the first time in more than 75 years, the game is getting a major update. A new double-sided Scrabble board is now available in Europe. One side features a classic layout, while the other introduces Scrabble Together. That's the name of the game, Scrabble Together. A new mode made for anyone who finds word games intimidating. Most people who don't play original Scrabble think that it's a game that you need a very extensive vocabulary, and Ray Adler, Vice President of Global Head of Games at Mattel, hopes that the update will bring more people into the game. In Scrabble Together, all players work as a team. It's a team game now. The game, which takes less time to play, comes with helper cards that players can use if they have trouble coming up with words. It also has simple scoring and collaborative goal cards that present challenges.
Interesting.
So let me, it is not going to be available in the United States because Mattel does not have the licensing to Scrabble here.
Oh.
Hasbro does.
Interesting.
The makers of Scrabble, Mattel, have done some research and found that younger people, Gen Z people, don't quite like the competitive nature of Scrabble. They want a game where they can simply enjoy words and languages and being together and have fun creating words. Scrabble is nothing but competition. It's trying to score as many points and yeah.
Well, okay, that's kind of the premise behind most games.
Correct.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Their cooperative games have seen a huge influx, but games have always been competitive.
Yeah. So the debut of Scrabble Together has ruffled plenty of feathers, with critics accusing Mattel of making a classic word game too easy. Well, yeah, it's a team game now, and they have cheat cards, basically. It says the whole experience feels like a bit cheating. Anna Lamchi from the BBC News, who recently played a new mode at the Board Game Cafe in London. While I am a distinctly unremarkable player, the joy of Scrabble has always been in the competition. The occasional win stolen from the jaws of what seemed like inevitable defeat. I'm not sure. There's people for it. They're talking about it changes the game and gives it new complexity.
And I could get that. I get the idea of it, wanting something that's cooperative. Okay, fine.
Now, it does say that players have been modifying Scrabble on their own for years. And that's
the case with every classic
Yeah, this guy's family plays with a list of 2-letter words open on the table. And then the author and his wife were known to play huge, sprawling games that allowed words in at least 5 languages.
I mean, I've never been a huge Scrabble fan.
No.
I don't mind word games per se, but I find that my brain just shuts down when it comes to deciphering the letters. So I'm not great at them.
So, yeah. And with this, too, there's a new words that have been listed in the Scrabble dictionary. And the most recent update introduced more than 500 words. And some of these include subtweet. I'm not exactly sure what that means.
What's a subtweet?
Is subtweet part of Twitter when you're responding in Twitter? I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm feeling old when I start reading these.
Yeah.
Adorbs. I guess it's adorable.
Adorbs?
Adorbs. 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 So I'm guessing that means they think it's adorable, maybe?
It's some sort of lingo, apparently.
Yeah, it's the new generation.
That's...
Then...
Okay.
Am I right? All one
my
word.
God.
Am I right? Zoodle. And hangry. I know what hangry is.
I know what hangry is. Hangry's been a slang word for a very long time.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
But am I right?
That's really...
Amirite. Am I right?
No.
I'm not? That's not the way you pronounce it?
It's not a word.
Mm-hmm. Plus, the Scrabble dictionary has over 100,000 2 to 8 letter words in it now. So,
anyway, I don't know. This has, to be honest, below zero interest.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have to worry about it over here until Hasbro decides it once. And it says that Hasbro has no plans to change its U.S. game. So, I don't think it's going to come to the United States. So.
Ironically,
But if you're over in Europe...
Sad thing is, it'll probably come down to a money thing. If they see it selling well in Europe,
yeah,
they might cave and do it just for the money. Because honestly, even making it... you could still produce both versions. People who love classic Scrabble are still going to buy classic Scrabble.
Yeah.
People who want this new version and... they're going to go with, it's a new audience.
Yes, it is.
So I get it. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I'm just saying.
So let us know in the comments if it's something you would be interested in. Okay, on to the Origins Awards. Origins has a lot of awards it gives out.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
If you've never heard of the Origins Awards, it's for the Origins Game Fair. They do awards every year. This is the one that everybody talks about that... the way they do it is odd. To be nominated for an Origins Award, you have to nominate yourself, basically, and then send all the people who are voting on it copies of the game. And then, because it could be a fabulous game, if you don't send a copy in to be reviewed.
So, in other words, they don't look at the games.
Don't look at sales.
They look at whoever nominates themselves.
Whoever nominates themselves and sends them the games to be played.
Never mind
how popular the game is or how many other games are a lot better than this game. If you don't submit your games to them with copies for every one of the people who's doing the voting, you're not even eligible to win.
That, to me, it makes them completely without merit. There's no, it's a popularity vote.
Yeah, it's basically point. You're buying your votes.
You're buying votes.
It's almost like you're bribing the judges, though. But let's go through some of these and see.
Okay, this is a really long list. We're not doing
I'm not doing them all because there's a lot of role-playing games and everything else on there. So the best cooperative board game is Sky Team. We've played Sky Team.
We have.
I think it needs more plays.
Yeah.
We had a bad first play.
Sky Team has gotten a lot of accolades elsewhere.
Yes, it is up for awards at Spiel. It's
up for awards elsewhere too, with people who don't, demand weird things like this. Okay, anyway.
Best gateway board game is Wandering Towers. Now, this is one we haven't played. I've been curious about it. I seen it on the table a lot last year at the retreat, and I seen it at Geekway out a lot. Best light strategy game is Leaf. This one I've heard a lot of good things,
Yeah.
and Quapple Nerds has
Yes,
this game,
they
so
have
maybe
it,
we
so-
can get it over there on a game night and actually play it,
Maybe.
where we're not trying to play games to help out both of our videos.
Well,
Just have
maybe
a
they'll
normal
need this
game
done.
night and not worry about games we need to play for our list. Just play some games.
okay.
Best thematic board game is Freelancer,
I've never even heard of it.
a Crossroads game. So, you've not heard of Freelancers? Have you not watched the Dice Tower program? Tom talks about this game like crazy.
Okay, now I have to go look it up because
Since it came out, it's in their top 100s. I probably like in their top 10s in some places.
Freelancers, a Crossroads game, came out
Yep.
in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have seen this cover. Okay,
Yes.
maybe
It
it
was
just never interested.
It was
It's
at the retreat.
3 to 7 players
Yeah.
though, so 90 minutes to 3 hours. Wow.
So the next one is the best heavy strategy game. This is Dune Imperium Uprising. This is an expansion, if I'm not mistaken, or a redo of Dune Imperium. I don't remember, but why would an expansion become a best heavy strategy game? Is it listed as an expansion? Maybe
Yeah,
this is
I don't
what
know.
Doom Imperium should have been when it first came out.
Maybe, but yeah, this is a standalone game.
Okay. So the best party and social board game is Smug Owls. I had not heard about this.
Nope.
It's supposed to be a really cool game. Best solo game is Legacy of You. This is a Shim Phillips solo game, which we don't
It's
have
never
any interest
interested
in
me,
solo
but
games.
yeah, I've
mean,
heard good things about
Yeah,
it.
a lot of people like solo games. So,
Yeah.
best children's game,
Yeah.
Diced Veggies.
I've heard.
This is from Kids Table Board Games.
I've actually heard a couple people I know with children talk about this. Dice Towers talked about it. It's supposed to be a really cute kids game. Unfortunately, it's not something we've ever played.
Anyway, so the next ones there's miniatures, there's role playing stuff, artwork, best production stuff, but the last one is fan favorite, and that is Distilled.
Yeah, I saw that.
So this one we've both played once at retreat, and it was late at night.
I enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
didn't win it.
I
feel
like the way
close.
what the game's trying to do, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
it can be kind of punishing.
I don't know. After a
But
full
I think
day
it's a
of a
good
lot
game.
of heavy games,
Yeah, we had a lot of distraction that night too.
yes,
though, because
we had a game of
Blood on
clock-
the Clock
Blood
Tower,
on the Clock Tower
came
going
in right after we got set up and started. They came in with a huge game of Blood on the Clock Tower and set up directly behind us.
yes.
And they were quiet for the most part. They weren't horribly obnoxious. It was just
No, it was just very
it was
distracting.
distracting.
Because when we went in there, we were like one of the few people.
yeah,
that were in
we were
there.
one of the only
Because
people
they
in
have
there.
some quiet rooms at the retreat where you can go off to and have a
Yeah.
quiet game. But so that is the Origin Game Awards. So our Society Awards,
Okay.
the poll I put up.
Oh yeah. I
If you
forgot about
scroll to the right, you will see the results.
that. Oh.
Do you want to start at the bottom and go up and
Okay.
that's the winner?
Now, first, let me say, I had not read a lot of the comments, but I saw several comments that said, "You forgot my favorite game, Life of the Amazonia." Thank you very much. I did see one for, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank now. The big one that we played at Jeff's. that
Oh,
you liked.
Hegemony.
Hegemony, yes, thank you.
Yes.
I did see one comment saying Hegemony would have been his choice,
Mhm.
but out of these, this is what he chose. So
Yep.
I felt kind of vindicated that we each had one that didn't make it that was somebody
Mhm.
else's favorite. So there. But anyway, okay, so it looks like out of all of the votes, and we had 54 votes. We got 5 votes for Ticket to Ride Legacy. We have 4 months left to play on that. We need to finish that one up. 6 votes for Nucleum, 18 votes for Apiary, and 25 votes for Earth.
So Earth, the 4 would win it.
Yes.
So why did I bring this back up? One,
don't
to
know.
give us the poll.
Okay.
But I'm going to put another poll out there and let people nominate their own games.
Okay.
And then maybe we can just over a few months we can break it down to it, and then everybody votes for the game of the year
Okay.
for the Meeple Society.
Sure.
So I'll
Okay.
post this in the same place I posted this on this one. I posted it on Twitter. I'm not going to go and do it on Threads this time. I got no interest on Threads.
Okay.
Maybe because nobody doesn't have any idea who we are. I don't know.
Probably. I don't know.
But the most places I got it from was Twitter and then Facebook. So look for it on our Facebook page. I do post it on a Board Game Indie site.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening and you're in that group, it'll be there, or it'll be on the Meeple Society's Twitter page or X page. So look for it there. And nominate the game you think should be the game of the year for the Meeple Society.
All right.
So moving on to games that we have backed. So I am the culprit this time.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, this was all you.
This one I had been looking at and I was like, I don't know.
This did not interest me in the least. However, we have friends that I think would.
So
really
this still doesn't
interest
you
it's
in the
okay.
least?
It looks okay, but it's not something you and I will ever pull off the shelf by ourselves. This is something that we will definitely play with other people.
No, that's what I was thinking about. Because we have a couple that Doug and Sarah that do like these kinds of games.
And for that purpose, I think it will be a lot of fun. But I think it would never.
Right, we won't be playing this by ourselves. We will have other people playing with us because this plays 1 to 4 players, 90 to 120 minutes. This is Blood. The Kickstarter's already over, so if you've missed it, you might be able to pick it up in.
It's on GameFound.
It's on GameFound, so you should be able to still go late backing. Yeah. So, what is Blood? This is a game where you control a group of unusual monster hunters, each featuring their own customizable set of cards. Blood uses an innovative dice and card system to allow you to face your horrors of Vlad's castle until you reach its power master. And
I will say, the one thing that really caught my attention and made this kind of exciting was the fact it was vampires, not zombies.
Yes. That's the only, if this was zombies, I'd say no.
No, we got enough zombie games. But the fact it was vampires, not zombies, that was what cinched it and said that was the reason I said okay.
Yes.
To spending another $150 on a game.
And I think the cool thing about this, when they say you control a group of unusual monster hunters, you're carnival workers.
Yes.
During the day.
Yep.
And then you go hunting at night, and this thing plays in phases where there's a night phase where you're hunting, and then a day phase where you come out and you can spend your experience points, spend your money getting more equipment and upgrading your character, and then at night go back in and looking for the monsters.
Yeah. And it does sound completely up the alley of what we like to play with Doug and Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to
that. And the miniatures, they are so detailed.
Yes. The pictures look really good, so I'm hoping they come out as good as the
and a lot of the
them.
monster ones are 2-colored. I mean, because they have the gray, but then like capes and stuff. It's supposed to represent the blood of the monster, and it's like
it's a
opaque red through and everything.
Yeah,
it looks really awesome.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So this is a game you can get it where you get the minis, or you can get it where you get standees. And I was like, if I'm going to play this game, I'm going to want those.
I want minis.
And I know. A few episodes ago, like 30, 40 episodes ago, I had a thing about Kickstarter bloat and why do you need all these. Now that we got into some of these games that are dungeon crawling games with Doug and Sarah, because this is the only reason we play them now, and found out that we do actually like them, but you need a group of people to play them.
I think I think they definitely.
I think the
serve
minis
better to the
Yeah, I think the minis like Massive Darkness. We had the original one. We had the minis out there. It just made the game more. It felt more thematic with all those big
with the giant spider bearing down on us. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we never got it. We never did play against that one big demon-looking guy that had the rock over the top of his head. And...
Yeah. No, he came out.
Did he?
Yeah, he came out, I think, in the very
last episode. He's like 5 inches tall?
Something like that. Yeah, he's freaking huge.
I don't remember him coming out, but
I thought he did, but all right, maybe not. I don't know. I could have sworn he came out at some point.
Anyway, so this is Blood. Like I said, you might be able to go to Late Backer and back this if you haven't already backed it. I'm excited to see this come out. This says that it is supposed to deliver when? When did it say?
January of 25.
No, December of 25. So probably
I remember thinking
April, May of 26.
Yes, I remember thinking it's going to be 2 full years before we see it.
Yeah, because this is by, who put this out? Ludus Magnus Studios.
Okay.
What did they recently do? I don't know. Oh, well.
Well, and for anybody keeping track, that now puts us out of our cap of 12 Kickstarter games out there. That puts us at 18.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, out of games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that puts us at 11 games versus expansions or other.
Well, I hadn't backed anything in a while, so, it was my turn.
You backed Jakarta Traffic was the last one you did.
Okay.
Back in April.
But how many have you backed since then?
3. One of which was Earth, and you totally agreed with me, so don't even go
3
there.
People. Three to my
I did
one.
Ice. And then I did.
But I do, when I
Purchase of
back
the
a
Dark
game,
Road.
it's usually
All
a pretty
of mine
good.
were expansions.
Okay.
And
Mine are games I
Earth was
really look
expensive.
into and been following for a while. And then I will talk to you about it and let you see a video about it and everything. Anyway, these guys also are the ones who did DEI. It was the one game at Dice Tower West that was out for demoing.
Yep, I
that
remember
we
seeing
thought
it.
it was like, that's interesting. It's one of the. It was an area control where you score your area, and then if you lose it, it's no big deal. But you score it as you get it, and then you could lose it later. So you would get the points from it. So that is all we've backed in the last 2 weeks.
And that is all we're going to back until some of these start coming in.
Well, we got Gen Con coming soon in like 3 weeks. So.
Somehow that never seems to matter when it comes to Kickstarter, though.
No. Well, you already know one that's going to get backed as soon as it comes out. So.
I do.
Dinogenics.
Oh.
The expansions.
So we'll be at 19 soon. Hopefully.
Hey, there'll be expansions, so they don't count.
This is true. This is very true. Yeah, we have 6 expansions out right now, and then the Dice Tower 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anyway.
So, shall we talk about some games?
Let's talk about some games.
Let's do the ins and outs of our board game collection.
Yes.
Episodes 40 and 41.
Okay, so episodes 40 and 41. We are starting to catch up because I think we just recorded episode 60.
The last and third and last part of the O's.
Fourth and last part of the
Fourth
O's.
and last.
Yes.
See, I missed a part.
Yes. It's because we only did 8 per video. We're starting to put less on a video, which is going to make these a lot harder because, anyway.
We'll be able to talk about all the games.
Pretty much. We're going to be very close to it. All right, so 40 and 41. 40, we are entering the Ks now. And actually, it is all of the Ks with one exception, which we'll get into on 41. So we had 18 games played. We played Ka-Ching, which is just a little weird card game. Kahuna, Kanban EV, Kazink, Kerfuffle.
Now you're making up words.
Hey, it could be a Scrabble word. Anyway, Key to the City, London, Keyflower, Keystone, North America, Kids of Catan. I loved that game. It was so much fun.
That was a ridiculous game.
Anyway, Killer Bunnies, King of Tokyo, Kingdom Builder, King Domino, King's Court, Kings in the Corner, Kings of Artifice, Kingsburg, and Kismet. Okay, so those are the 18 games that we played for episode 40 of Playing Through Our Collection.
Yep.
All right, so now, again, he went through all of this and did this after I went to bed last night. So
You
we'll
put
see
the
what
out
he put down.
games.
I did
Well,
put
you
the
told
out
me what
games.
games to put
yeah,
in, though, but-
I told you what games to put in there.
I did the ends, the surprises, and the disappointments.
so
Because I know we agreed on all of them. So.
Yes. Well, see, and my surprise would have probably been Kids of Catan, but that's okay. Whatever. I enjoyed that game.
Okay.
All right. So the game that stayed. All right. So, and again, lots of these games stayed. This isn't the only one. But one of the games that stayed, the one that we knew was going to be staying no matter what happened, was Kanban EV. This one is a Vital Lacerda game put out by Eagle Griffin Games, one of the big, elaborate, complex Lacerda games.
It's a Lacerda game.
Yes. So with this one, you are basically factory workers putting out cars. You work in a car factory. Throughout your day, you are moving from one department to another and spending shifts in those departments, either putting together your designs for the car, you're testing your car, you are getting your parts, you are working on the manufacturing line, whatever, any number of different things that happen in a car factory. All the while, you are trying to keep up on your training to satisfy the supervisor who wanders around from department to department berating people who have not kept up on their training. Good old Sandra. At the end of every week, you have a weekly meeting, and after so many meetings have happened, the game ends. And there's a couple game end scenarios, but very complex game. But at the same time, a lot of it is intuitive. It is one, in my opinion, it is one of his more intuitive games in terms of what is supposed to happen and what happens in each department. It's all very clear. Maybe just because we've played it a few times. I don't know.
This is the one game, though, I can't remember what the executive actions are, because in Lacerda's every game has executive actions, and I've been trying to sit there and think, and it's like, well, what was the executive actions in Kanban? Easy.
I think it had to do with, and I don't know if that's what it's labeled, but it's the only thing I can think of, is when you had extra shifts banked, you could use an extra shift to do an extra action. I think those were your executive actions, but you could never do more than so many at a time. Like you couldn't work more than 2 shifts in a row or 3 shifts in a row, something like that.
For the life of me, it hasn't been that long ago that we played Kanban, but I couldn't remember what the executive actions in Kanban was.
That's the only thing I can think of, but I'd have to look it up to make sure. But anyway, Kanban EV stayed in the collection. The game that left. And we're going to kind of go over 2 pieces at once, because this was not only the game that left, but it was also our biggest disappointment out of this grouping. So it gets double billing. And this is Killer Bunnies. We had 2 copies of Killer Bunnies with a lot of the expansions. We played this over at my brother's house with him and his wife. And I'm almost ashamed to say, but at the same time, some of you who have ever played this game will understand my sentiment here. This is one of the very few games I've actually gotten angry during playing.
Yes.
Anyway, the idea of this game is that it's all a card game. It's all a deck of cards. So you're going through the deck of cards, and the idea is you have to get bunny cards out. And there are ways to protect your bunny cards. Good luck finding those cards at the same time. But you have to get bunny cards out in order to do certain things.
Yes.
The whole goal of the game is you are trying to collect carrots. That's it. You are trying to collect carrots. There's 2 decks of carrot cards. One deck gets set aside, and these are the carrots you're choosing from throughout the game every time you play a card that says, hey, take a carrot. You can't play that card unless you have a bunny out. Everybody else's goal is to make sure you don't have bunnies out, to take out your bunnies, and with various ways of doing it. Here's what I don't like about the game. Number 1, finding those bunnies is difficult sometimes, because it's all luck of the draw. It is 100% luck of the draw as to whether or not you can even find a bunny in that deck. But 2, you come down to the very end of the game. You've collected 6 carrots. Each of your opponents have collected 1. You want to know how the winner's determined? You shuffle that second deck of carrot cards and you draw a card. Whoever has that carrot wins the game.
I thought it was the last card.
No.
Was because you eliminate people as you go through the deck.
Well, either way,
yeah, it comes down to a card draw.
Card draw.
Yes.
As to who wins the game.
Yeah, no matter how well you've been playing this whole game, it still comes down.
And I very much dislike that mechanic.
Yeah, and this has got that. It's the same mechanic that's in the.
Yes.
Oh gosh, what is the name of that game that we just absolutely couldn't believe because we would play it so good and it came down to a card draw. It's a movie.
A major movie.
Jeez.
I can picture it. It has Jennifer Lawrence in it.
Yes. That's pretty bad.
Mockingbird.
Yeah.
What the heck
why can we not figure that one out? Oh my goodness! People are screaming to name it. Hunger Games. That's it.
It's one of the Hunger Game movies. that had the same concept. That, yeah, and we've already talked about it. We talked about it several episodes back.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I despise that mechanism. We ended up, this one went onto our sale pile.
Yeah.
Into it's leaving the collection.
And actually, we took one. Back. We had two copies of it.
Yes, we had two copies of it. Nobody ever bought the silly things.
Nope.
So
we had one copy that had only one expansion.
We had
the other
one
had
copy,
like two,
had
three
a couple
expansions in it.
Yes,
that's the copy we gave
we gave them both to Jeff.
Did we give both of them to Jeff?
I messaged Jeff when we went out there in April and said, "Hey, here's all the games I have that we're getting rid of. Do you want any of them? Do any of them for the cabin?" I was mainly thinking for the cabin because he has a number of games available at the cabin there. It's all lighter games. So he said, "Yeah, no problem. I'll take one, and I've always wanted to play this." So great. I took both copies. You keep one. You put one at the cabin. Done. I think he said he was going to burn it after he was done.
Yeah, I think he said it was the only game that he knows of that he would ever just burn the game.
I told him to save the dice.
Yeah.
But the rest of it could be burnt as far as I was concerned. And I apologize if you really like this game. It is definitely not
It is
our
an extreme
type of game.
Take that game throughout the game, and then it comes down to who has the right card. It's like playing the lottery.
Strike one, it's 100% luck. Strike two, because there's even dice rolls in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I lost my last bunny, was the die roll. Mm-hmm. Strike two, well, like I said, it's 100% luck.
Mm-hmm.
But three, it comes down to the draw of a card as to who wins, and that's stupid.
So I mean, there's people who just absolutely love take that games.
Yeah,
people who absolutely love luck games.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
not one of them.
Even if you do really love take that and luck games, how can you like a game that no matter how well you did and how well you kept the other players from bunnies and how many carrots you got, it comes down, do you have the right carrot?
Did you grab the right carrot from that stack of carrots?
Right.
Yeah.
So this way, I mean, this game could be so shortened by take the carrot card deck and just pass them out.
Yep.
And then draw the card. Okay, we won. Okay, that was 2 minutes of a game that was fine. But this game can go on for how long?
Ours went on for about 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours of coming down to a draw of a card, which could have been settled in the first 20 seconds of the game if you just passed out the carrot cards and then drew from the other deck.
All right, so anyway, that one left the collection and was our biggest disappointment.
Yep.
Because we had played it once before, and I don't remember hating it that much. But, man, this last time, I'm just as happy as
I got absolutely no bunnies whatsoever. No chances of drawing a carrot at all. Y'all
I did have
carrots.
A couple carrots. Yeah. Of course, it wasn't one of mine drawn.
No.
But, yeah. Anyway, regardless, it's gone. All right.
Anyway.
So our surprise for this one, again, I would have put
Catan Junior,
Kids of Catan, which is just a really cute, very basic game of Catan. I took a little video. I'll show it here on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see it, go there. Or, I don't know, tune into episode 40 and take a look at it. But the one that Greg listed is a game called Key to the City, London.
You can't tell me you weren't surprised about this game.
No, I did like this one. I did.
This is all about building boroughs in London.
Yes.
Where tiles are going to come out, you're bidding on the tiles. Kind of like the Keyforge thing where you're bidding on things.
Yeah, Keyforge.
Or not Keyforge. Keyflower.
Yeah, it's the same
concept.
Keys.
It's one of the key games.
Yes.
I mean, there's tiles that come out that have resources on them, so you're going to get those resources. And there's also buildings you're coming out that you're trying to connect in your boroughs to other boroughs, and
right. And that's what I liked.
In-game scoring on some of the tiles have in-game scoring. If this building is connected to other buildings, and then also on your turn you can upgrade your buildings where they come out with little standees of the buildings that you put on it for extra points.
Right.
Each of the buildings have points at the end of the game, and then there's a barge that comes out. The barge, I believe, is what has all the resources on it that you can get. And then when the last barge leaves the River Thames, or Thames, or Thames, however you want to pronounce that, the game ends, and then you count up your points.
Right.
I really liked it. We got this. This was a Dice Tower Retreat pickup, wasn't it?
This was a Dice Tower Retreat pickup. I think it was one of the
game
last
exchange.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, it's another key game. I've enjoyed some of the plays.
Keyflower is okay. It's good.
Yeah, they're okay. I mean, it's not my favorite type of game, but this one I really liked.
Yeah, this was good. I'd have to play it again. It's been a little while.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but that is episode 40. Moving on to episode 41, we played 16 games. I feel like half of them all were
legendary.
One theme. Yeah, they were all legendary. Okay, so we did have one go back on this one. That was Dice Realms. We did have one K on this one, which I guess was technically a go back, but
I think because we were waiting, because it's a 3+ player game and we needed to get it
This
played.
is Kyoto. It's a 3+ player game, and we were not able to get it played. We didn't want to hold up the rest of the Ks just for this one game, so we held it over and moved on.
Yep. Anyway.
Okay, so Kyoto. We did a number of labyrinths. The Amazing Labyrinth, the Electronic Labyrinth, Labyrinth Junior. Yeah, those three. Okay, Amazing, Electronic, and Labyrinth Junior. And then we did the Ladybug game, Land vs. Sea, Lanterns at the Harvest Festival, Last Defense, Last Word, LCR, i.e. Left, Right, Center, Legendary, Marvel deck building game, Legendary Big Trouble in Little China, Legendary Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Legendary Villains, and last but not least, Legendary World War Hulk.
Which is World War Hulk, I think, is technically a expansion to it.
But it has its own stuff, though, so that's why we included it.
There's a lot of them that has that too. But
that's true.
It's an expansion, but we played it as a regular game.
We did.
Because it doesn't come with its own board. You still use the board from the Legendary game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so the one that stayed, for sure, was Legendary, a Marvel deck building game. This is my favorite deck builder.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely adore this game.
Your son and daughter-in-law love it even more.
They do too, and what we don't have, they do have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they went gun. This is the one game they collect almost everything they can find on it.
Yes. I need to find a good storage solution for this one, so if you have an idea, let me know in the comments.
Yeah, because all the stuff we have don't fit in the box anymore.
We have like 3 full boxes up there full of stuff, taking up a lot of shelf space. I need a good storage solution for this one.
Yep.
Anyway. All right, so Legendary, this one you are, depending on the game you're playing, you are playing with, always you're playing with 5 heroes and a number of villains and henchmen and whatnot. And you have your hero deck with your, headquarters. The hero deck is all flipped over into your headquarters. You have 5 to choose from on any turn. Meanwhile, villains are coming out 1 villain at a time on the start of each person's turn. And then if you have 5 out already and a 6th one has to be brought out, then one escapes.
And depending on what scenario you're playing
that
or
could be
which
bad.
one you're playing is, it could be bad because that could have been one of the ways you lose the game. Is too many heroes have escaped.
So there have been a ton of villains put out in this, and each of the villains have their own game end. I don't want to say scenarios, but they're game end triggers.
Mm-hmm. And what exactly? It's the masterminds.
Masterminds, yes. So there's a number of masterminds that use the villains and henchmen. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I just love the way this one plays. It just like a lot of deck builders, you have your one piece that allows you to buy new heroes, and then you have your one piece, your one skill that allows you to attack to take out the bad guys.
Attack and recruit.
Right, attack and recruit. And here it's called attack and recruit. Others, it's always a different terminology.
It's different, but
it's
the same.
Game. But almost every deck builder, Dominion, trains.
Everybody starts out with the same basic hand.
Yes.
Oh, same basic deck, and then you build it from there.
Right.
And that's the type of deck builder game that you like. You don't like pre-build the deck.
No, I hate pre-built decks. Okay. So anyway, that is Legendary, a Marvel deck building game. My personal favorite deck builder game. All right. So the game that left the collection is a game called the Ladybug game, and this is by no means a reflection of the game itself. I thought it was a cute game geared toward children. But it comes down to the fact that we have to narrow the kids collection down some. We don't need 150 kids games. So this is one that just did not make the cut. So Ladybug game is it's technically a roll and move type of game, but it's not really rolling. You're flipping cards and doing what it says. Some of the cards allow you to move. Some of the cards give you amphibs, which I think it's aphibs or amphibs. what are those called? I don't know.
Oh,
but
the
anyway,
little bugs?
The little bugs. They give you little bugs.
You get fleas.
You get little bug tokens that will help you get through certain spots of the board. Some of the spots on the boards have challenges where you have to have the little bug tokens to get by them in order to progress any further. What I thought was very interesting about this game, and this is written on the back of the book, is this was designed by a girl named Kylie Copenhagen. She created this game in first grade when she was 6 years old. So I just thought that was so neat. And I love when teachers encourage this kind of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was a cute game. I did. But anyway, so that was the Ladybug game. And as I said, it did leave our collection. Our surprise, and ironically this one left too, and I'll explain why it left.
Mm-hmm.
But our surprise of this one was a game called Kyoto.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Greg put this on here because as I was reading through the list, I'd have had a different surprise. But I'll come back to that one.
You talk about it. I'll figure out what one you would have put up there.
Okay. Anyway, so Kyoto this was the one that was a 3 to 6 player or 3 to 5 player, something like that. You know which one it was?
Yes, I know, but
anyway, what was interesting about this is that it dealt with the environment.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very, very teeny little board. We tried so hard to get this played in so many different ways, and just
it's a 3+
could not
player
get
game.
anybody
3 to 5,
interested in playing it with us. And finally, Justin and Jackie sat down with us
because they had the game as well.
Exactly.
Because we got this game in one of those surprise boxes
Yes.
at Gen Con. It was
Yes.
a game that was in there.
Yes.
And we both did it,
Yep.
and they got one, we got one.
Yes. So the idea with this one is you are playing cards out throughout the game, trying to trigger different effects that will either help or hurt the environment.
Right, you have your own certain goals that your
each
delegate
player
is
has a
trying
goals.
to have happen. Now,
That's
it could
true.
be something that was going to be bad for the environment
Yeah.
or something good, and you're trying to sway the vote to get it go towards your side without revealing what your agenda is. Why the other people have their agendas that they need to go to, and they're fighting like, oh, there's an animal up here. If we don't save this animal, it'd be extinct. But you may need to have like 3 extinct animals happen in that game.
If you end up with 5 extinct animals, game's over.
Yes.
You all lose.
Yes.
So if I remember correctly, it is a very fine balance between attaining your own goals and not losing the game for everybody.
Yep.
So it's one of those semi-cooperatives.
So that's why I thought of it being a surprise, because it was a little more interesting and
more complex
educational
than we thought,
a little bit to think,
It
does
was.
this really happen in like the UN and stuff when they're talking about this
I
and
don't
trying
know.
to world
Yeah.
powers fighting, because you are a world power.
Right.
You're playing a different country, and each country has their own agenda of what has to happen, and each agenda is not the same for each country at the beginning of the game, because you pull your agenda, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just trying to balance that. It was just, I thought it was really interesting. And it was a surprise to me, because when I first looked, I was like, what is this game? Because it said, in one of the descriptions, it says you have to stand in the podium and explain why you think this should pass and why this shouldn't pass and everything. I was like, well, I'm not into doing that.
Yeah.
But you didn't
weird.
have to.
No.
It's just, it was basically, it's like, okay, I'm voting for this, I'm doing that, or I'm putting, and it was all secret bidding, or voting, if I'm not mistaken, or however it was. I think it kind of gave us the resistant kind of vibe, where at the end you flip them all over and see if the thing passed or not.
Yes.
But I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was interesting.
The one you would have had in here was Last Defense, correct?
No.
No, I was wrong.
You were wrong. The one that I would have had, because Last Defense we had played, I knew
Let me
how good
look.
it was. Yeah. Can you figure it out?
Dice Realms?
Nope.
No.
The one I would have chosen was Electronic Labyrinth.
Oh.
Labyrinth.
Yeah, okay.
So
I think mine was better.
I loved the fact this one, there was a small computer machine, whatever, in the middle of the board. Basically, it was a book that told you what your next move. Not necessarily what your next move should be, but where you needed to go to do things. And you ended up having a number of goals. And I just thought it was a neat take on Labyrinth. Because instead of having cards that portrayed where you had to go, your goals were changing periodically throughout the game based on what the machine was telling you. I just thought it was neat.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The one I originally had in here was Legendary World War Hulk, because that one plays more different than any other of the legendary Marvel Legendary games we've played, where you're playing with more than one bad guy.
So yeah, that is a good one. I do enjoy that one too. Of course, I enjoy all the legendaries, so that's no surprise to me. Okay, and last but not least, our disappointment for this episode was a game called Last Word. This is one we played. It's a party game, 2 to 8 players. We played with Justin and Jackie, our son and daughter-in-law. I feel like we say, I don't think we need to keep explaining who they are. But anyway, it's all right. So the concept with this one is that you have category cards and letter cards that tell you what letter you have to give a word for a category. Mm-hmm. So, for example, the one shown on BGG, the subject is animals and the letter is L, so players shout out lion, lemur, leech, and leopard. Okay. And I do not remember if you go round robin on this.
No, you just start yelling it out.
Start shouting out answers.
And the person who says the last one before the timer goes off gets to move up the board to the finish.
But the key with this one is the timer goes off at different intervals.
Yes.
It's not 30 seconds every time.
Yeah, it's a random timer.
It could be 10 seconds. It could be a minute. It's random. Mm-hmm. So it's all programmed with it's a battery.
It's a randomizer
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it was okay.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't okay enough to really
hold on to. Yeah,
so.
Unfortunately, it was not. So short and sweet, but.
And I think there's other games out there that do pretty much the same thing that are better.
I think so too. Yeah. So.
Okay.
All right. That is it for playing through our collection.
So, guess what?
Or the ins and outs of our collection, I should say. Not. Anyway.
Guess what?
What?
We have mail.
I saw that it was in my intro.
Know how to take away some thunder. Jeez.
All right.
Okay, so in the mailbag, we had Jeff Hammer ask us a question via our Facebook group. Any games you are looking forward to buying it or demoing at Gen Con? Any dedicated videos? I've been watching all I can. I don't know if I really watched any videos on it yet. I know there's a few of them out there right now, because it's 3 weeks away.
Oh, yeah, it's 3 weeks away. I haven't watched
games
anything.
that are looking at it, though. So I kind of went through a list and to see what games I'd be interested in. Now, we probably won't be buying most of these. I don't think we're going to be buying. We better not be buying all these.
I was going to say,
because there's a lot of games on this list. But these are ones I want to check out. There are a lot of games on this list. These are games I want to check out. I'll just tell you the game and kind of give you a quick, the little wording underneath that will kind of gives you an idea what the game is about.
Okay, so in other words, sit back and get comfortable. He's going to start reading off a list.
Yes. Well, there's 29 titles, it looks like.
Oh, boy.
There's 29.
Okay, so I'm going to sit back and get comfortable.
So this is, I don't even know how to pronounce this one. Agita, City of Umbrellas. This is create beautiful street art with umbrellas in the city of Agita, Portugal. Or Agida.
Move on.
Okay. Anyway, Cubitos Foul Play. This is an expansion for Cubitos. We do have Cubitos now, and we kind of liked it. So this is going to add stuff to it. Sparks. This is you run your factory, build robots, and bring them to life. It looked really cool. This one I know we're doing a playthrough of, and that is River Valley Glassworks.
We've already got the Kickstarter coming.
Yeah, you did the Kickstarter.
I'm so excited.
So apparently this is going to be there to be at least be demoed. I don't know if they'll have any retail copies for sale or not, because it's still in production.
Yeah, it's still in production. I can't.
Next one is Pampero. We had a chance to demo this at Dice Tower Retreat a few years back before it went to Kickstarter, and we did it. And I'm seeing it now being delivered. So I'm interested to go and actually take a look at it and see what it is.
Well, worst case, we can play it at the retreat.
Yep. The next one we're going to actually do, get a demo play of, is Aquatica Coral Reefs. This is the new expansion. We just played the other expansion just the other day,
Cold
just
Waters, yeah.
so we could remember how Aquatica played and see what changes in the game with this expansion. One I know I'm not going to buy because I have the other version of it. This is Foundations of Metropolis. This is basically the retail version of Foundations of Rome. This is just a polyomino game now that you're putting out tiles to build the foundations.
The same concept,
it's pretty much the same game. Yes, it's not an overboost. The next one is Super Kawaii Pets. This is one that I actually picked up because I thought, Kitty likes games like this. It's a card game about adopting sad pets and making them happy.
I like this idea.
So you're going around, your resources are things that's going to make your pets happy. You're going to be drafting these pets, and you're going to go around and pick up the stuff to make it happy. And then there's places you can take them to make them even happier. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most happiest pets wins the game.
It's only $15.
Yes, I know. There's another one on here, too.
Of course,
I think
and
I picked up because of you.
Is 8 and up, so
yes. So next one is Sears Catalog. Now this one is SEERS, not SEARS, like we all grew up with.
Yeah.
So this one is kind of weird. It's you got your cards and you're trying to get rid of them. But if you have, I think it's if you have 5 cards, you score whatever card has the lowest points on it. You score those points. But if you have more than 5 cards, now bad things could happen to you. Oh. But the biggest thing is the first person that ends around is the first person who runs out of cards in their deck. So it's kind of cool. It's interesting to take a look. The next one we're actually going to go to the reveal party of this one, if I'm not mistaken. This is Reef Project.
Okay.
This one looked really cool too. This is Become a Hero of the Reef Restoration Project and Save the Ocean. Ooh. Another one I want to take a look at is Endeavor Deep Sea. We have the other 2 Endeavor games. I want to see what they changed. They did this because of all the not politically correct things now that are in both of the Endeavors. So they did this just to get completely away from all that. So they did this one. I'm interested to see how this one plays, if it's a lot different than the original ones, or if it's pretty much the same thing, just with different mechanisms or components or whatever. Next one is Cities. This is from DeVere, so it's going to be another one of those smaller boxes, but travel through the most unique cities of the world and plan the best neighborhoods.
It's a Phil Walker Harding game.
Yes, it is. That's why it's on the list, because we've enjoyed a lot of Phil Walker Harding games. Yeah. Then we have Invincible, a hero building game. This is where you're going to build superheroes together in the Invincible universe. So I don't know a lot about it. That just caught my eyes. Like, you're building superheroes. That sounds cool.
That sounds like, what's the name of that game?
Heroes Wanted.
Thank you, yes.
But you build that character before you put him in the game.
True.
I think this one you're actually building them in the game. Now this is releases, it says Q2 of 2024. This is supposed to be a Gen Con for sale, so it's a deck/bag and pool building game. It's a cooperative game as well. So the artwork's like a comic strip. Okay. So next one I want to look at, see what it does. This is Honey Buzz Fall Flavors. This has just been released off of Kickstarter. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what this is going to be doing. The deluxe edition will be available at Gen Con this year, so we can take a look and see what it looks like. We don't have any expansions for Honey Buzz. We don't play it as much, though, but when you have a collection like this and doing what we do, it's hard to get other games back to the table.
Yeah.
Endangered American Red Wolf Scenario. We played this at Geekway, so yeah, this is another expansion for it, and I like this one. This one was pretty cool.
It was very interesting.
Shut Up, Cat. This is another one I put on here for Cat. It's a push-your-luck game about getting a full night's sleep despite the darn cat. So you're going to be flipping tiles, and there's Z's and there's meows. So the push-your-luck is you're going to turn over a tile. Is it a Z? Yes. Okay, that's sleep. More Z, sleep. More Z, sleep. Meow. Now you lose all your sleep.
Oh. Ouch.
So it sounded interesting, and it's a cat-themed game. I knew this would be something you and Journey would enjoy playing.
I love it.
It's $29, so
that's worth looking at.
The next one is Weird Manor. I want you to get a better look at this game. We seen this at Dice Tower West a few years ago before it went up on Kickstarter. And I thought it was really cool. You didn't remember a bunch about it,
Oh,
but then
yeah.
you seen it being delivered, and you seen it. It's like, oh, that looks really cool. I was like, oh, I tried to tell you about it. It says work together to battle time and malevolent monsters in a magical, ever-shifting manner. This one, the board is round, and each layer of the board rotates.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like Last Light, how that board rotates. This one has like 2 or 3 different
Yeah.
layers that rotates. It looked really cool.
Okay.
Next one is an expansion for Ancient Knowledge called Heritage.
That one looks...
It adds new elements to
We
Ancient Knowledge,
really
not like
liked
Ancient
Ancient
Knowledge
Knowledge.
doesn't have enough elements in it already, but
I really like that
this
one.
would be
Yeah.
cool.
This is not going to be a cheap Gen Con.
Terminus or Terminus, it's build tracks and stations for underground trains and bring your company to the top. So it's a train building game, so I wanted to take a look at it. It's from Inside Up Games who released Earth, so we'll see what it looks like. This other one, it just looked cute. It's Cafe Barras. It's build your own cozy cafe and turn your drop-ins into regulars. So you're building a cafe, but it has a Barras drinking coffee with an apron on the cover.
Nice.
This is from Kids Table Board Games, so.
Okay. They put some good ones out.
And then Cold Express has a 10th anniversary edition out. I want to go look at it just to see if it's any better than what
We
the
currently
edition
have.
we have. If it would beat our $2.49 copy of, that'd be $2.49 we
Right.
paid for Cold Express when we found it at a flea market type setting. Anyway, so and then I just put this on because I wanted to mention that Mayfair is back at Gen Con. It's not the original Mayfair. Somebody bought the name, but they're having some. They have 2 games on here. They have it, but the one is Cafe Espresso.
Okay.
I just want to go see what the look they have now.
Okay.
If it's still the same old Mayfair look, or they updated the look with
Good Lord, I hope they've
new
updated
owners.
the look a little bit.
But it's gonna be cool that Mayfair's back, and because they're
Yes.
gonna eventually, they're trying to get their old titles back.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be cool if they got the Agricola title back and they started doing the whole ribbon thing again, to where you get knighted and you get like 50% off of games if you go through the whole knighting ceremony and everything.
That'd be cool.
That's cool. The Op Games has 10 Days in USA coming out. The new version of this they've picked up. We don't have 10 Days in USA.
we
We have
have
Europe
Europe
and Africa.
Both of which were Goodwill finds.
Yeah, and I
so-
asked him at Geekway if they're doing it, but the guy who was doing the demos didn't actually work for the Op, so he wasn't sure if they were going to redo the entire series. But I want to see what the new version
What they
looks
look
like,
like,
and
what it
then
looks like,
ask them if they know is the rest of them coming out, because that would be cool to have the whole set again.
Yeah.
Because this is the game I didn't like at first, and then really liked. And,
It's so simple. I love it.
yep.
Yeah.
We have Captain Flip. This is a Spiel des Jahres. I just want to look at it. I just want to see why it's been nominated.
Okay.
And then last but not least, Horrified, World of Monsters. Now, this is already available at Target.
Really?
I've seen some posts, people picked it up at Target.
Wow.
So you can already go out and get it. You don't have to pay the $30 at Gen Con for it. You can just go over to a local Target and see if it's there.
No sense carrying it home.
So that's what I'm looking at Gen Con. What are you
Wow.
guys looking at Gen Con? Leave notes in the comments as to what you think you should be looking at. So, Jeff, I hope that answered your question. And we'll see you at Gen Con. Let's talk about some more games in a little more detailed. Not as detailed. We got a lot of games on here. We're probably not going to talk about all of them, but these are games we've recently gotten to the table.
Okay. Well, we got a decent number of games played in the last 2 weeks. So, and all of these are...
And what we have listed isn't all the games we played. These are just
Okay.
some of the ones that I really wouldn't mind talking about. But like I
Okay.
said, we don't have to talk about all of them.
wait, these are all really heavy games.
Exactly. We played a lot of the other collection games here recently, but these are the big games that we've talked about.
You mean you don't want to talk about Pardon My Pixie Dust?
No, we don't.
But it was such a cute little game.
No, it was. Well, okay. It's a game for 3-year-olds that is introducing them into Take That.
Yes. It was a very minor Take That. But yes, it was Take That.
Land on the
Or-
square and take one of the other players' cards that they
Okay.
need to win the game for.
Let's see. What is the other thing? Oh, what was the other one that I noticed was missing? Oh, yeah, Outfoxed. Again, another kid's game. So
Yeah.
we'll be talking about Outfoxed when we get to the O's, I'm sure, because that will probably be our surprise of that episode.
Well, we'll talk about it on the recent released video, too.
Yes.
Anyway, so let's get on to some
Okay.
of these that are on the list.
Okay, so which one do you want to start with?
I don't know. You pick one and you talk about it, and I'll
I'm
take
gonna
one
pick
and you
Okay.
talk about it.
So we got to go to our local game store, and we took part in what was called a Lacerda Day. One of the heads of our local board game group, called BGI, Board Gaming Indie. Every 6 months, he does this Lacerda Day up at Hitherto Coffee Shop, which is one of our local board game stores. And 5 or 6 different Lacerda games set up on tables, and you sign up in advance, everything, so you've got set players ready to go. But anyway, we got to participate this last time, and we got in a game of the Gallerist. Now, we do not own the Gallerist, so
No, we do
we
not.
wanted to play it because we do not own it. And I really enjoyed it. So the idea with this one is you are researching and you're trying to discover and promote various artists. And then whether it be in the medias of portraits or painting, the oils or photography or
Sculpture.
digital or sculpture. Those were the 4. And they used to be abstract, and now it's digital. Whatever.
And soon it'll be AI.
Yeah.
I have a story on that, but I won't go into it.
Let's not go into that. So, very interesting game. I really enjoyed classic Lacerda, lots of executive actions, although the executive actions on this were kind of a gimme. You almost wanted to make sure you did your executive action every turn. It wasn't something you had to pay for, or, they were pretty easy to come by, unlike some of his others that we've played. I've noticed that. But yeah, overall, great game. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely play it again if given the opportunity.
But do we need to own it?
That is a really good question. I feel like our Lacerda shelf is full, so it's actually overflowing.
There's only 5 of them.
I feel like it's overflowing. So I don't know.
Lacerdas are hard to get to table,
They
period.
are hard
so,
to get to the table because of how big they are.
Yeah. And depending on the size of your game collection, they're hard to get
Yes.
to table because there's so many other games you can get that's going to take less time.
Yes. So,
Okay.
anyway, but that's the Gallerist. Very good game. I enjoyed it.
So I'm going to actually talk about, I know you figured I was going to talk about this one anyway. This is a game that I came home from work yesterday and found that you had found at a Goodwill store for how much?
I found this for $2.99.
$2.99. This is HerStory. If you haven't heard of this game, this is by the same makers of Trekking the National Parks. And,
trekking games, yeah.
but this is all about the women in history. And there's cards out there where you are picking up resource tokens off the board, or you're drafting one of the women to bring into your story. And when you were able to pay all the resources on the side of the card, you put it into your chapters, and some of them may have powers that you could use then, some in the future, some's in-game scoring, or even more resources that are more permanent. Thus, it kind of gives off that Splendor vibe. It's a very light game.
Yes.
Each card, like I said, has the drawing of the woman, it's their name, and then what you need to get to put the card.
Do the research for her.
Yeah,
what research
to put
you
that,
need. Yeah.
to put that into as one of your chapters.
Into your chapter, yeah.
And then however many points you're going to score.
Yes.
What I thought was really cool is at the end of the game, once you have the person who gets all 8 chapters basically quote
Triggers the end of the game.
written in their book, triggers the end of the game,
Yeah.
and if they are the last person in the round, the game is over.
Yes.
And then
No
they
more
tell you
rounds.
to take your stack of your chapters and turn them over, and on the other side of the card has
Of
the
the
bios
people,
of
yes.
each one, what they did, why they're in this game, and then your player card,
Your player aid.
player aid, turns
Flips
over,
over.
and it is like the front end of the book, and now you can pick it up, and it makes it look like you have a book of these
All 8 women.
interesting women, and you can actually read them off. They
Yeah.
tell you to find your most interesting one and read it to everybody.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And
Yes.
okay. I have always liked the trekking games anyway because
Yeah.
of the history they portray, the information that they took a lot of time to fill out all this information on every aspect of their game. On the Trekking Through History cards, they've got the backside is about that incident in history, about that time period.
The parks all tell you about the parks.
And the parks, they tell you about the parks and those particular
sightseeing places,
locations or those points of history. This is no different. They took a lot of care and had a lot of different people involved in doing the research, including some middle schoolers, which I thought was really cool.
They had teachers from pre-kindergarten through college that started doing it, and then they gave them to
middle schoolers
or something like that.
They went to a middle school.
The kids researched it all and came up with information to put on the cards about them. So,
and I mean, it was interesting stuff. Some women you've heard of, you've heard of Selena and of oh my gosh, now I'm going to draw a blank. What were some of the other ones we saw last night?
Susan B. Anthony's in there.
Susan B. Anthony is in there.
There's
quite a few
of them.
Pocahontas is in there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the Supreme Court Justice that just passed away last year or whenever it was.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember her name.
I know. I can't
Anyway,
remember her name.
So you've got all of these very, very well-known women.
And some that you've never heard of.
And those were the ones I really found interesting.
Yes.
Because you've never heard of these people.
Like one of them, it just looked like an everyday mom, and you look at it, she coined the phrase mechanical engineer or something like that, or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly what it was, though, but it was like going,
just
okay.
The first woman doctor in the U.S.
Yes.
And just all sorts of just really neat stories. I really enjoyed it. So, but anyway, that was a good one, and I was very happy to find that.
But yeah,
one.
that was one I've been wanting to buy, and I knew it was a really light game, and I didn't know if I really wanted to pay the price that they were asking for the game.
Well, there was always something else we wanted to, and it just never came off the shelf to buy.
But really nice.
Now I
know
why it never came off the shelf to buy.
If you like light games and you're kind of like games that are kind of like Splendor, this is kind of a Splendor adjacent game kind of where
same mechanism.
You're trying to get the resources, like in Splendor, you're trying to get the resources to get the mines or the nobles. This one, you're trying to get the resources to get the women into your chapter of your book. So, pretty cool. Anyway, what's the next one you want to talk about?
All right. Well, from there, we will just slide across over to Trailblazer, the John Muir Trail.
I had a feeling you wanted to talk about this one.
Now, mind you, we backed the Arizona Trail on Kickstarter. That one is yet to come out. You saw an ad on one of the Facebook groups for the John Muir Trail. Somebody was selling their Kickstarter version. So we went out and picked it up. I've really enjoyed it. We've played it twice now. We introduced it to Justin and Jackie, and they both very much enjoyed it. The idea is that you have 12 days to hike a 10-point trail up the mountain, I guess. I'm not familiar with the John Muir Trail in California. We've never hiked it, but we've been to Muir Woods. I imagine it probably is in that general vicinity. This is a resource management. You're collecting resources, both natural resources as well as
personal
resources. Thank you. That's the term they use, which include water bottles, food, first aid, but
agility and
it is health. So I guess it would be first aid and something else, stamina, and then your natural resources, water, wood, and
fire and wind.
Yes,
it was earth, wind, and fire, baby.
It's wrong. Anyway, each person gets this little flip book that tells you what you need for the next piece of the trail, and everybody's are different. In fact, the Kickstarter version came with 4 additional ones that make it harder.
And these flip books, they're not huge. They're like Tickets to Ride size, cards, original card size.
Yeah, the original Ticket to Ride size.
And it's on like a little ring.
Yeah, they're really cute. So anyway, it tells you what resource you need to have personally in order to progress up the next part of the trail. And if that weren't enough, then you also have the whole game is tracked by weather cards, weather tokens. So you've got 12 weather tokens that throughout the game are going to come out, and they're going to tell you whether some inclement weather is going to make your
hiking trail.
Thank you. Your hiking any more complicated that particular day. So maybe it's a rainy day, it's a thunderstormy day, and now everybody, in addition to what their pack book says, everybody also needs fire.
Mm-hmm.
So you need something else to help you on the trail that day. Mind you, there's 10 pieces of trail, 12 days. So you can take 2 days off and still legitimately be eligible to win the game. But if you cannot get to the top of the mountain, if you cannot get to the John Muir trailhead, or
it's a mountaintop. I can't remember the exact name of the mountain.
I can't remember the name of it. If you can't get up there by the end of the game, then you're not even eligible to win the game. So you're doing this along with collecting other cards that are going to give you benefits. There's a lot going on, but again, it all feels very intuitive. I really liked this one, and it makes me even more excited for the Arizona Trail when it comes out.
This one, it's Whitney. No, it's not Whitney Portal. No, it is Mount Whitney.
Mount Whitney, that's right. Okay.
Or the Whitney Portal.
Okay.
Basically what it is. Anyway, so.
All right.
Yeah, this one was a lot of fun.
Yes.
And Justin and Jackie liked it too.
Yes. Matter of fact, Justin's already said Jackie was already looking up the price of it on Amazon.
So
right.
I'm gonna talk about one more,
okay.
And then if you want to talk about another one, you can talk about another one. This is Heat. I know we've talked about Heat, but Justin decided he wanted to actually run a season. So we have started to run a season on Heat, and last Saturday, or was it Sunday? Anyway, sometime last Friday, we actually did our first race in, what was it, in Great Britain, wasn't it?
Yes, it was the Great Britain race, Season 1, Race 1 in Great Britain, on the Great Britain track.
And this one is where you're actually adding cards to one-time played cards into your deck that's going to give you extra things to do. And it's one of those cards that you don't throw away until you use it. Right.
It's a one-use card, and then as soon as you've used the ability in any way, shape, or form, then you lose it.
And you get more of them each time, each race you do of the season and everything, and you keep track. And I guess the pole position and everything, the way it starts the game off is the way it ended, or something, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. We'll have to see when we get to game 2.
Yeah. So. I thought I read that's what it was. But anyway, this is it. We also put in the Legends mode, which I don't know if I'd ever want to play Heat again without using the Legends mode, because this puts in an AI in the cards that aren't there, and you have a card that you draw every turn. It tells you what a certain colored card, if it's not one of the player's cards, how far it moves.
How far it moves with certain rules in place. Because, of course, you've got those corners, and it's not going to go through the corners at a high rate of speed if it can avoid it. So there are certain rules that are just kind of overlaying everything when it comes to the corners.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it tells you exactly how far they move.
Yeah, so the game pretty much plays the same, except you have those cards, those extra cards, but you also take out the 5 and
the 0.
The 0 you take out of the game. So you lose the 0 and you lose the 5. Right. But now there are cards that you could get with upgrade cards that are 6s and stuff. Yeah. So it played really cool. I was winning by a long shot at the end of the first lap, and then lost it by a long shot at the end. I didn't even finish the race.
Yeah.
Because everybody else had finished. Like, well, I'm last. Even the AIs beat me. I was dead last. And at one point, one of the AI cards was like 2 turns behind us, and I think he came in like second.
No,
he caught up with us.
Oh, now you're going to make me look. Hold on. I got to pull out the book. Because this was just last Friday.
It's the infamous Game of Records.
Nope.
Or Book of Game Records, or however you want to call it. Right now, it's just the pink book.
It's the pink. Yeah, the last one was blue. This one's pink. Let's see. That was on Mars, Outburst. Where was that? Oh, there it is.
It was the first game that night we played.
You came in last. It was the third game we played, because we played Splendor and then Outfoxed.
Oh,
and then we played
okay,
Heat. Anyway. No, they didn't come in second. Jackie won. Justin came in second. I came in third. One of the pro drivers came in last. Fourth.
That's all that needs to be said. I came in last by like I said, I did not finish the race.
Right.
I just kind of just pulled it off to the side of the road and said, I'm done. I was so far back.
Yeah, flat tire.
You guys got across the start-finish line, and I still had 2 corners to go.
Yes.
I had to get through 2 gates. I was like, I'm done.
And I don't even know how you got that
I don't
far
know if
behind.
you score a DNF or not. Because I got a bunch of heat in my hand, and I had to cool down, and it was just... And I was constantly on the main straights, the ones where you can just sit there and put in cards and to where you can, because there's one card that you put in there. If you lay it out as one of your cards you're playing, you get to draw another card. And I was drawing ones.
Excuse me.
I was drawing ones and twos to go across the straightaways, and you can only draw 4 cards unless there's the stress cards. You can draw more though, but it's still eventually only going to be 4 cards.
Right.
And I was drawing 1s and 2s
Yeah.
in a straightaway where you're needing those 4s and 5s and 6s and one extra boost and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I fell behind.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's Heat. That was season 1. If you haven't played it, it's really cool. Play with the legends, see what you think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm. So what are you gonna play?
All right.
Do you want to talk about anything else?
No, I think actually we're probably running pretty close on time.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we call it there? And all of these, because everything else that's on here is going to be coming up in the O's and P's here soon.
Except for Aquatica.
Except for the cold water expansion,
the cold water expansion, yes.
Fine.
Which we briefly, we didn't really say anything about it, but we talked about when we went through the Gen Con stuff.
Well, and after we do the Gen Con thing, we can talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
There you go.
So this is going to do it for episode 69. What's recently been released to the YouTube channel, episode 59 of Playing Through Our Collection. That's the end of the O's. And our top 10 worker placement is blowing up like crazy right now. Go and check it out if you haven't, and let us know what your top 10 worker placement is. What's coming to the channel, episode 60, Playing Through Our Collection. It's the beginning of the P's.
No, episode 60 is coming out later this week. It is the end of the O's. Episode 61 is the start of the P's. We haven't recorded that one yet.
So this is future Greg. So it's the end of the O's on episode 60. Episode 59 is not the end of the O's because there was one that came after it. So 59, 60. Okay. Anyway, and we are in the middle of putting together our top 10 strategy games list. This is going to take a minute because there's like 360 some odd games that we had to go through. So that's what's coming to the channel. But in the meantime, if you want to follow us on social media just to keep up with us and see what we are doing, just follow the links in the show notes. There you'll find links to Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, and our merch shop. Or you can contact us directly at Meeple Society at mail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the next one.